In Isaiah, it says, your children will yet say in your hearing, give us more room. And I think there's a generation that is saying to us, the way you did marriage, it's too small. The way you did life, it's too small. We want more room. We don't want our own room, but we want more room. And so I think as parents, we need to take the limits off of our own experience and speak God's word and his promises over our children. I'm thinking back to when my boys were little, and my second son, when he was born, he was just extraordinary. I mean, he flipped over when he was 20 seconds old. They put him face down right when he was born, right next to him, and he's almost flipped out of those little plastic containers in the birthing room. And I was like, oh no, swaddle him. He started riding a bike without training wheels at 2, not 2.5. 2. He wanted the training wheels off. He just felt like he had no limits. But then all of a sudden, I started to hear him say things like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm scared. And I thought, wait a minute. Where is this coming in from? Because you're the boy that flipped over at 20 seconds. You're the boy you're this incredibly fearless boy. Where is this coming in? And he looked at me like, I don't know. And I remember really taking it to prayer. And God said to me, he is actually speaking out loud the fear he sees in your life. And so as parents, our kids are going to follow what we model. And what I was saying, I maybe wasn't saying limits over him, but I was saying limits on my own life. And so when we don't deal with certain fears, and when we don't deal with certain limits, we actually model living in this realm of containment. And so I remember for my boys, I said, okay, we're going to throw this door wide. I started to speak over them every single night. You are for signs and wonders and miracles. You are not for death and destruction. You are disciples taught of the Lord, and great is your peace and undisturbed composure. And my boys were like, what's composure? I'm like, it doesn't even matter. When you need it, you will have it. Yeah. And what was I doing? I was trying to create a world large enough, because the truth is every generation should walk in more faith, more hope, more love. They should be able to have the boundaries that were ours be actually just the beginning for them. And in Isaiah, it says, your children will yet say in your hearing, give us more room. And I think there's a generation that is saying to us, the way you did marriage, it's too small. The way you did life, it's too small. We want more room. We don't want our own room, but we want more room. And so I think as parents, we need to take the limits off of our own experience and speak God's word and his promises over our children.
Sometimes I'll say something to myself and I'll think, now, if you heard your child say that, what would you do? You would be like, no, that's not right. No, you're better than that. Or no, you can do all things, And so I think sometimes when we listen to what we're saying to ourselves, exactly like you're saying, Lisa, you're putting that on them when you're saying it, you're modeling that. It's a good checkpoint to say, well, what would you say if your children said that about themselves? Right. And that kind of helps us in a way go, well, I wouldn't want that, So then why would you say it then?
I remember talking to this couple, and they were very confused whenever they started fighting in their first year. And I started kind of laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, they're being serious. And I was like, oh, okay. And they said, the husband had never seen his parents fight ever. And I was like, well, then they just weren't doing it in front of you. But to what most of you are saying, he needed to see the sin and needed to see the reconciliation and needed to see that you can be imperfect. And so I didn't know anyone grew up that way, but that was fascinating to me. And the importance of seeing the reconciliation and realizing that people are real and that they do have a sin nature, but that you can still stay in relationship and you can still mend things.
One of the things I've noticed with my kids, and again, we're in the trenches with little, so 7, 5, and 2, I've noticed that if my husband Matt and I are not careful, we will just go about the business of marriage, the business of our household, the business of co-parenting our kids, because life is so busy and so hands-on in this season where it's like, you get the sippy cup, I've got the dry cleaning, you get this plate on the table, you take the baths, I've got the books, you've got the teeth, we're just trying to keep everything together. And so I realized this maybe like a year ago or so, and I thought, Matt and I are loving to each other, and we hug and we snuggle and we have a wonderful marriage, but the kids don't see that. What the kids see when they're awake and with us is us managing them. So it really creates a weird perspective for them, kind of like you were saying, of the interpretation of what they observe, because it teaches them, well, they're the center of the universe, first of all, because we're just revolving, trying to keep them afloat. And they never consider that we have a relationship apart from them. And so we've started to be really intentional of hugging and dancing and speaking loving things to each other and snuggling. And what is so cool, y'all, is they want to get in on it. Like when we hug, my son Carter will go, they're doing it. And they'll run and come and like squeeze in between us in our hug.
Yes.
And it's the sweetest thing. But I thought, oh, they need to see this.
Yes.
They need to see it's with our words, but it's also modeling in our marriage. And I just want to give some encouragement to anyone watching that's in the trenches of littles, where it is so hands-on and you're so exhausted and you're just trying to keep everything together. Make some time. It can be something so small like hugging in the kitchen while your kids are eating, but they see it. And that models not only love for them, but safety and security in the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm. That's good. You know, I used to rub my boys' backs when they go to bed at night. And I found that actually when they could just decompress and I could rub their backs, just kind of scratch their backs, they would really open up about their days. Because Victoria, you're 100% right. They're like, I didn't want to have a deep, meaningful conversation with you over dinner. I wanted to wait until you were utterly exhausted at 10:30 at night. Then I'm going to unburden my soul. And how you handle this in this moment could be traumatic or it could be transformational. So you better just do it well. But no, I found that my boys would unburden themselves before they went to sleep. And I think it's really important that what we would speak over our kids right before they went to sleep was so, like, think about it. It's the last thing they're hearing. You know, I'm proud of you. I love you. I see the man you're growing into, and I can't wait to, spend time with you. See the family you're going to build. See the father you're going to be. Because I have grandkids the ages of what you guys are talking about with your littles. And I have just gotten to see that what I did in this measure, now my boys have taken it and done it that much better. And I see the fruit in my grandkids. And our words do have incredible power.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe today and you'll never miss a new upload.
And don't forget to check out our Better Together shop. Thanks for being a part of our community.